Hello and welcome to Perspective. This is BioEnchanted, and I'm just doing a quick one-shot because this is a very fun, interesting game that I quite enjoy. Let me just do something real quick first though. It's a bit better for me personally. I just had to turn up my volume a little bit so I could hear myself speak over this. Because the music can get a little loud at times. As you can see, it's a kind of general platformer so far. Don't touch anything orange, and including the edges of the screen. The orange edge of the screen will kill you. So just avoid anything orange and touch anything blue and you're good. Seems like an easy enough level. Oops. Let's not do that, shall we? Weirdly enough, we're not actually losing any lives either. Let's see what happens when we continue climbing. Okay. As you can see, this game has a lot more going for it than initially let you assume. Led you to assume, rather. You see, this game has, of course, it's a 2D platformer with all that implies when it comes to platforming and general movement, but you can also decouple the camera from the thing. It has two separate modes, 2D and 3D. 3D mode, the main character does not interact with anything, and cannot interact with anything. Also, it can go behind stuff, like things that would normally be obstacles for him aren't. And in 2D mode, and also he can't move, because of course he's moving the camera. In 2D mode, the camera can't move, but he can, and he can be in contact with anything he needs to, with all that implies. Of course, the trick here is just making paths for him at the moment, but of course things will get a lot more complicated as the thing goes on. Something to bear in mind, he's always on the very last possible wall he can be on in a particular view. Like, even if there's a thing in front of him, he'll still be on the back wall. For example, here, he's on the back wall there. But also here, still back wall. Even though it looks like he's on the cube right now, he's still on the back wall, but he is technically, from a certain perspective, on the cube. All he needs is a blue floor. Doesn't matter where it is, or if it even exists. As long as it looks blue, and looks like a floor, from that perspective, he can use it as such. That is the reason I really like this game. It has a lot of imagination behind it. All the rules are consistent and well explored, and there's always some new twists on the whole situation as well. Example here, compression artifact. Let's try and get him across here, shall we? Make our floor. Of course, if we make him any bigger, he can't fit, so we have to shrink him by moving closer, because he's always the exact same size compared to the camera. So the closer you get, the smaller he gets relative to his surroundings, and vice versa. Let's just get him across all these little obstacles, shall we? And here, of course, we have a blockage, a wall that we can't get past. What wall? This is fun because it's like, okay, let's just explore a bit and go all the way down this massive corridor. Wait a minute. Well, we would have to do that and go all the way around this wall. All that matters is that we have a perfectly straight line. Just a floor to him. Any red means we can't bring it back into his world, because otherwise he'll be overlapping with something he can't overlap with and it will break things. So it doesn't allow us to do that. Isolation chamber is a particularly interesting one. Can't get past there. How would we possibly get around there? We're kind of in the... It seems like that wall's kind of moving compared to the camera. Yep, he can't move, but we can move him. Same with this wall over here. And whoop! All the way over here. I have to re-record this a bunch of times because there's something that happens well, for a few different reasons. One of the latest one was because of something that happens towards the end that I didn't consider the ramifications of, and I had to find a way around, which I've done so now. I'll explain that later. For now, let's just enjoy a fairly basic puzzle over here. I'm a bit smaller so we don't accidentally bump his head. I really like the music in this game. There's a lot of interesting music to it, and it generally it's atmospheric in a way that's fairly cute. Here we actually don't have any floors on the walls, but from every perspective we still have floors. Why do we need them on the walls? Here's why I mentioned where it comes in handy. Oh, we need them on the back wall. Is there? Our little night boy is on the back wall now. So here we have a bit of a trick. We need to get him all the way over there. First of all, let's get him back where he belongs, shall we? Somewhere we can more easily see him. This wall over here. And now we have a bit of a tricksy thing to do here. Now we have a floor that we didn't have before. Yep, jumping around corners is a very important part of this game. There's a lot of places where we'll need to work out just the right corner to jump around. Go for the left or right, because why not? Sometimes, though, those corners can be quite tricky to work out, but for the most part, they're fairly simple. In at least one case, it's a complete nightmare, but we'll get to that when we get to it. We'll cross that bridge when we shrink to it. Of course, we need to be tiny to get through here, so we'll have to get right up in this puzzle's grill. Of course, by doing so, we reach an impasse. Too big, can't get up there. Big enough. I always like those kind of these kind of puzzles. They're very fun to figure out spatially. And of course a lot of the all spatial puzzles. And here we have a void. No orange, no blue, which means it's safe. And now we're on the front pillar. Let's hop away up and around it, shall we? Now how would we get up here? Well, if we get close enough, it's only a little hop. It's always a matter of not just left and right, but close and far away. You see, much like Dougal from Father Dead, this game doesn't really care whether something is close or far away. All that matters is the relative size. Don't need that big red partition getting in the way. Let's just move it by replacing with blue. Now here, just think of this as kind of a horizontal elevator. There we are. Now we have this last pillar as well. Need to be a bit further left here for this to become shrinkable. There's a lot of hold right and move further when it comes to this game. There's a lot of that. So now we have 4 puzzles blocking this door. Let's start with the floor is lava, because it has my favourite intro of all the puzzles. An enormous drop to a red floor. Not a problem for us, but for him. Of course, you also have to be careful not to let him touch the edges of the screen, otherwise bad things will happen. Now he has to cross a very large gap. Or does he? It's halfway there already. That's not so bad, is it? I always quite like that all the largest gaps always seem really tiny when you're up close to something else. There's a lot of cleverness when it comes to the way these puzzles are laid out. Oop. I kind of sometimes forget that it takes you out of that thing, so of course we can't jump straight there. But if we do this, we can of course, not do that, but we can always just kind of matrix our way around the corners there. A little bullet time is all we need. Just being on the right parts of the right panels. Of course here, we need to make quite a big jump. Not that big though, is it? In the long run, when you think about it. Really took all the perspectives on board. We realise things are much easier than they initially appear. Oops! Don't let that happen. Sometimes you can end up overlapping, and if you end up overlapping like that, it's really annoying to try and get back out of that position, because you have to be at the exact position where you weren't overlapping when you came out of that mode. So often you can spend ages trying to find that exact spot, that exact position to be in. Also, we don't only have the walls to play with. We also have plenty of ceilings as well. We have to get quite far down. But really, it doesn't seem that far, does it? It seems to be a bit bigger. It's like a giant stride all of a sudden. Now, of course, we need to get him all the way over there. So the fastest way to get him down this corridor is for him to fall down it. If we just move back a bit, we end up giving ourselves a floor. This floor is also constantly rotating. It's a big, cool floor. It's an omni floor. Yeah, I've grown quite good at this game because I've played through it multiple times because of problems and other issues, things that I didn't think through, that kind of thing when recording it. So I've played through this game like 3 or 4 times at this point, so I kind of have a very good grasp of where everything is and how it works. Now we need to go all the way up there. It's going to be a bit tricky, we can't jump that high, but do we need to, really? Get a little closer. It's not nearly as far. No, there's barely anywhere. That little elevator trick we'll have to do a few times, but I really like it, it's really cute. It's a funny little trick. We're actually very close to being done with the arcade as well. That's what this area of course is, the arcade. This game is relatively short. We just need to work out the best way to make the shortest distance. If that means going to the longest wall, and so be it. Because if the other wall we wouldn't have had quite as much distance to cover. And now, of course, we'd need to jump here. Do we? Really? Do we need to? Do we really need to have a jump at all? Or is jumping just a state of mind? Is jumping just admitting you've given up? And now we have a few other little tricks up our sleeves. We can't go right, so we have to go around left. A very long way left. All the way left, in fact. There is so much left. Doesn't seem that much when we first came here, did there? But if you know how to move, then every direction's left. Up is left, down is left, right is left. Left is right, or it could even be left. It's all a matter of, again, perspective. That seems so far away, but really it's small. And here we have the real hub of the game. Beating the arcade, and we can't really do much else. One thing I quite like is these little green lines. Oops. Showing us. Come on. precisely where we need to go next, like what powers which area, that kind of thing. I quite like that. It's visually interesting. It allows you to have a lot of signposting going on as well. It allows you to know exactly where you're meant to be going. Now we need to climb quite a big tower here, using our usual trick of elevating ourselves above the problem entirely. Politicians may call it being for a little bit ivory tower, or in this case I guess we could always call it a sapphire tower, couldn't we? Careful of perspective. It can just as easily screw you as it can save you. Oh dear. That's better. They put me in a more favourable position that time. Of course, we need to be on this wall to get to the back wall. Oops, we have to also need a perfect position for that wall not to exist, so... Walls everywhere. All the walls in the world. Let's get to that back wall. Whoop. I quite like all the space motifs and everything like that. It's visually cool. And it gives the whole, like, the whole area's got this very kind of sci-fi feeling to it. In a way that I quite, oops, not quite enough space there. In a way that I quite enjoy. So now we need to use these stairs. Oops, careful. He needs to use them. Get over here. Well, we could have just gone left in the first place, but you know, alright, we could have actually gone either direction, but I wanted to show off the stairs, because not only are they for his benefit, this protruding area and the stairs themselves are for ours. I mean, if we go up, surely everything else must, by its very nature, be going down. Just careful. A little awkward though, this game's not really made for stairs like that, so we end up just generally gradually sliding down, and that's kind of annoying. This game really isn't built for stairs, the engine just can't really handle them. That was the only set of stairs in the entire game, and you can tell that, can't you? The only set of stairs that the player is meant to use anyway. Again, long jump never really needs to be that long, does it? Short hop, more like. And we just need to get him over here. Again, long jump, short hop. Quite like the floor. It really feels like an actual like arcade with the terrible looking carpet and everything like that. It looks like garbage. It's quite fitting. Oops, that was stupid of me. If you can, just make the floor happen. It's easier that way. This is the most frustrating one. This is where you have to be absolutely immaculate getting past the second corner. First corner is easy enough, but here is where things get really not very nice. You see, we have to move it so that he stays completely blue. Like that, so we can get around that corner. That needs to be completely perfect, because this wall is impossible to get completely gone while also having him where he's meant to be on that far wall. You have to really watch yourself doing that. And of course we have our usual corner jump trick to get around here. Like this. Oops. At least we're still on this part of the wall though. Me being a bit stupid now. There we are. Boom. That normally takes me a few minutes to get past because I just get stuck trying to find that exact angle. That was so much less painful than it normally is. I'm normally terrible at that one. Let's just speed ourselves past there, shall we? Straight into it. Into arcade. Again. It's actually like A_R_C_A_D_D. Or underscore E rather, because it's a slightly broken version of the arcade. Fairly run down. Misspellings everywhere. tags everywhere too, like some kind of broken HTML, and also moving things that weren't moving before. If we stop moving on them though, go to camera mode, of course, in camera mode he is susceptible to 3D motion, as opposed to the 2D motion. Which means he can now be moved by movable walls. This is where you need to know exactly how he behaves in relation to the rest of the universe around him. Before you could just know, oh, wall mode he can move, camera mode you can move. Now you need to know how things will move him. And also, that's not the only thing that can't affect him. See? Any hazards when he's in camera mode can't hurt him either. They just phase straight through you, which is fairly cool. I like that. It means that from a certain perspective, even the traps aren't really traps. More just inconveniences. I quite like this little moving platform as well. We have to kind of time getting across just right to avoid it pulling away like Lucy pulling a football. And Charlie Brown, of course. But again, a lot of these are actually the same puzzles, they're just a little bit broken, and I quite like the idea of that. Like, it's definitely got a strong Portal vibe going on. Of course, we actually haven't got a chamber to get through this time, so how are we going to get over there? We can't move ourselves, but the wall can move us in 3D mode. I really like that particular thing. And now, of course, we have something else that's moving quite rapidly. So let's ride it, shall we? Boop. Oops, behind the cabinet there. I quite like all the broken arcade cabinets and the torn down posters and everything like that. It definitely feels kind of interesting. Apparently they're selling pizzas on half price as well, which is nice. I quite like, just like an actual arcade, you have posters for the games as well. I quite like, that's really cute actually, I only just realised that. In universities of all actual arcade games that we're kind of using. Sorry about that, I had a bit of a cough there. So let's get to our usual place. Oops. Yeah, because it's getting like 3 times in a row pretty much, I'm feeling a little bit... That's better. Catch ourselves a little bit there. Now we can also do the next level. Ventilation room. This one's cute, I like this one a lot. Oops. Just ride it. We're just riding the room. This has always been a really cute puzzle, and I really like this one. There's a lot of really inventive puzzles in this game, I'm sure you've noticed by now. And of course here, we can't get through this blue platform, we need negative space. Like this cube, for example. That'll suffice. Super Octagon's a really fun one, I really like this one. It's very elaborate, but in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming, please so. Close perspective, get closer to make it easier, much bigger jump. This is also the first real place where you can really get kind of trapped into perspective a little bit, so be careful not to let that happen. Be in this kind of angle. Now we need to just kind of move from shape to shape. And work out how to get him to different parts of said shapes, like right in the center, right here for example. Let's get it right in the middle, and let him drop onto this vertical pole here. this is, of course, where the whole perspective thing can be a little bit of a pain, but there we go. We managed to avoid him turning red. So let's now use this to drop down there, shall we? Now we need to be very careful here, because otherwise we'll get trapped between it and the ceiling. We need to, of course, keep slamming between 2D and 3D to avoid getting crushed there. Like I just did. That's another one that often gives me a lot of trouble, actually. It's another one where I've had a few tries before to get through it. And finally, we have our final real level of the game, the machine. This one's elaborate and interesting, can be a little daunting. There's a lot of moving parts, and some parts that move in a way that implies they might be useful, but really they don't ever get used. Let's move on this. Get to the side of the room. It's a scary looking puzzle, but when you work it out, it's really not too bad. Let's get to the wall. Of course, now we have another big jump to make. There we are. Now, we actually need to get from this to that moving block. But it's a very tall block, so how would we do that? That'll work. Oh, shit. You see, we just need to be a little bit clever of how we move around. And how we are moved in turn. Oops. That was not clever. There we go, that was clever though. And now we just need to get up. And now when it comes closer... Oops. Not quite like that, but when it gets closer, we can use it to get all the way up this massive jump. There we are. Oops. And now we've reached an actual exit to the hub area. Welcome to the credits. I hope you enjoyed this game. I quite enjoyed it too. It's a lot of fun. It's a game that I only randomly came across a few years ago. Got a little bit into it but never actually beat it, and then beat it earlier today and just kind of loved it from there. It's really inventive, it's well put together, it's a lot of fun. And it's made entirely by students at DigiPen. So thank you, DigiPen Institute of Technology, or DIT, or Diet, however you want to pronounce it. To all these people at DigiPen that did really well. And this is really well playtested. There's some games on the site that I tried out that just weren't nearly as good, like Chained completely broke. Like, the guy kept getting stuck in the hole in the floor every now and then, it was really annoying. We've reached thanks for playing, but seems to still be looping. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Let's try and brute force it. Let's just try and escape normally. See what happens, shall we? Yeah, let's go. Okay, well let me just go back to the OBS and try and stop the recording, shall we? Wait a minute. Well, this ain't good, is it? So that's that done now. Well, thank you for watching my Let's Play. I hope you enjoyed this particular one-shot. It's a very cute game. A very interesting one with a lot of neat aspects to it. So let's enter our exit. Thank you for joining me on this journey through a very interesting and very unknown game. Well done on whoever made this one. I should say they were named in the credits, but I don't remember all the names from there because I'm not good at names of people I know. But well, I'll see you. Goodbye.